Hello and welcome. It is the Nisha Jackson Show. I'm Rusty Humphries. That there is Nisha Jackson. What are you eating there?
Well, Rusty and I have been sitting here eating these today. They're so good.
They are good. Well, I was going to ask you, what is it?
They're coconut keto clusters. They're really good. There's different types of coconut clusters, but these are pecans, almonds, pumpkin seeds. They're organic.
Granola-y.
They're organic. They're gluten-free. They're vegetarian. They're 4 net gram carbs. It's just nature's best, Earth's best stuff, evidently, but they're really good. And, they're not super low in calorie, but they're high in fat, good fats. And guess what good fats do for you, Rusty?
Make it fat.
They help your brain. Most of your brain's made of fat.
So you're calling me a fathead?
It's really good for your brain.
Really?
It's really good for preventing depression. Good fats in your diet. Well, first of all, you can't make any hormone without fat.
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
all your hormones come from cholesterol.
So I'm a hormone factory.
So people on low cholesterol medication, especially if they don't need it, which I do believe there's a lot of people taking it that don't need it or haven't tried to maybe reduce their cholesterol other ways. Low cholesterol can interfere with your body's ability to make hormones in all your hormones. So anyway, I wanted to talk about eating good fats in your diet because the subject today is 12 surprising things that cause depression. Or no, that's not what we're talking about today. 12 surprising signs of depression.
Okay.
And some of them are kind of surprising. They were surprising to me, actually.
Yeah. By the way, before you really get into it, where do you get this stuff?
I get them at Costco, but you can buy them at any store. You can buy them online.
Okay.
Let's see, what's the online address? Inno Foods, INNO foods.com. InnoFoods.com.
But everybody's got a Costco.
Costco's good, yeah. Well, probably not everybody, but
every single person.
Not everybody goes to Costco.
That's true.
Not everybody wants to spend $200, $500, $1,000 every time they walk in the door for just one bag of coconut clusters.
I know. I mean, I always feel like I have gotten away with something if I can get out of under 100.
Under 100, that's impossible.
It's focus.
Major
focus.
Willpower. You got to get past the TVs and all that other stuff. Okay, surprising signs of depression.
Yeah.
Shopping sprees.
So I'm depressed all the time?
Retail therapy, excessive retail therapy is actually a sign of depression. 1/3 of the people that perform regular retail therapy are actually clinically depressed. That's a lot.
It is.
So it's kind of important to get a handle on therapy, on your excessive spending. A lot of people, it's their way of avoiding their stress. It's a way of shooting up endorphin levels, giving yourself a little bit of an adrenaline rush by shopping.
Make people feel good to shop.
Yeah. I remember one time that I was super hooked on eBay. And every time I'd win something, I'd go, I won. And my husband said, wait, you didn't win anything. You have to now buy that grand piano.
For $10,000.
I bought a grand piano in Michigan. Oh, how am I going to get it here now? Anyway, so it really does serve as a distraction, but the problem is that when it goes to an excess, it actually can be a sign of mania. So mania meaning you can't control it. You spend money, even money that you don't have, and or some sort of bipolar disorder.
Hence the term WrestleMania.
WrestleMania?
People were really into wrestling at that time. They would spend lots of money and be into WrestleMania.
I've never heard that.
You never heard WrestleMania? WWE, WF.
Oh, okay. That's
Hulk Hogan.
Definitely not in my
WrestleMania.
That's not on brand for me. Okay.
Me either. All right.
Drinking heavily.
Now that's on
Drinking heavily. About 1/4 of the people who drink heavily have depression. For obvious reasons.
Well, isn't alcohol a depressant, and that makes you more depressed?
Yeah,
right?
if you cope with stress and anxiety only by drinking, then you most likely have a problem.
Okay.
And unfortunately, today, drinking has become so socially acceptable in almost every circle. Okay, not every circle, but a lot of circles. And the problem is that we also are at an all-time high of stress. So if you combine those two, drinking being cool and socially acceptable and almost like, like just normal life, along with the highest stress we've ever experienced in our world in history, it kind of not a big surprise they go hand in hand. But the problem is that different people have different chemistries, brain chemistries, and some people are much more susceptible to the addiction of drinking. So it is, unfortunately, alcohol is a depressant. So it actually makes the depression worse the more you drink. And then you have to drink more. So it's that insidious onset vicious cycle that you get into. Number 3, binge eating. Another one that's kind of obvious. Binge eating, where you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I just ate all of that.
Right.
And this happens a lot with people in the evening. They undereat during the day and they're completely stressed out and, over rushed and over hurried and overpacked schedules. And they come home in the evening and they just start eating and they eat straight on through to bedtime. So they've just linked, many studies have linked depression with binge eating. And this happens mostly in middle-aged people. So we know that there's a very strong link between depression and drinking, because drinking and, binge drinking and binge eating, because it works. What we're trying to do when we're stressed and depressed is our serotonin level is low. And when our serotonin level is low, I was looking for a supplement to show you. We want to bring our serotonin level up. So instead of taking like a good natural supplement that we have in our office called the mood supplement, easy to remember, it helps your mood. You take it at night and it raises your serotonin level. So instead of doing something like that, people will go to excessive eating or excessive drinking, because that also raises your serotonin. But the problem is it only raises it for a while, and then it takes a nice big fat nosedive. And then you got to drink and eat again. So that's the habituation process. So it's really important to do things that naturally raise your serotonin, like eat good foods, get your body moving, get outside, make love to your partner, take the mood supplement, do things that naturally bring up your serotonin and GABA, norepinephrine, dopamine levels, instead of habituating on something that's going to make you even more depressed.
By the way, I started giving my daughter that mood supplement.
Yes.
And it really has helped her a lot.
Yeah.
She's actually nice again.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. It's great for PMS. It's great for people who are stressed. Just remember, you don't have to have like a chemical imbalance to take something that would help your mood. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't need that. And, their partner's like, they're so irritable. They're flying off the handle all the time. And it really does make a difference. You can't just wake up one day and say, okay, today I'm going to have a normal serotonin level. I know I'm stressed out of my mind, but I'm just going to will myself to have a normal serotonin. You can't do that. It doesn't work. So you have to do something to make it come up. Forgetfulness is a sign of, can be a sign of depression. They've linked high stress and the imbalance of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It shrinks a part of your brain, the hippocampus part of your brain that is related to memory. So all of a sudden you can't remember anything. Now, that can be a hormone disorder too, which we'll talk about in a different show.
I always say, yesterday you told me I was low on cortisol. So is that why I'm forgetting stuff?
Yes. So low or high, excessive stimulation to the brain from stress can actually shrink the brain. So when the brain shrinks in the hippocampus area, it will affect your memory, concentration, word finding, focus, those kind of things. So it can be very concerning when you're not remembering things.
So don't forget to subscribe to the Mark Jackson Show here.
Mark?
That was being forgetful. No, NishaJackson.com.
All right. Excessive internet use. I don't know if you've ever been in this situation.
Keep doing the show.
People who are always on their phone or computer, and they would prefer to be on their phone and computer. They would prefer that over social interactions.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Remember, we learned this at Rhythmia. The number one all-time most highest on the list determinant of a long life, long, healthy life. Guess what it is? Social interactions.
Huh.
Number one, by far, number one, social interactions. Preferably healthy social interactions, but social interactions. So excessive internet use to the point that you would prefer to be home on your computer, shopping, surfing, whatever, over connecting with people, friends, family, whatever.
You're really good at that.
I would not prefer the internet.
I mean, no, you're really good
me.
with social interaction.
I like a lot of social. I want people over for dinner. I want to go out to lunch.
Yeah,
of course, this all is around food. But,
right. Me, it's I have no idea who my neighbor is there, or there, or there, or there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people who overuse the internet tend to spend time, this is what research shows, on pornography, online communities, and game sites.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not healthy for you.
Online communities, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's another sign is excessive internet use. Shoplifting. I was kind of surprised about this one. Shoplifting can be a sign of depression. They've identified that at least half of the shoplifters suffer from depression because it's definitely a little bit of an adrenaline rush to get out the door without getting caught stealing something from a store. I don't get this.
No.
But it does provide something that gets them up when they feel really flat. But again, this is correlated even with alcohol and binge eating and all that stuff. It gives you a little bit of a rush, followed by feeling even much worse. Back pain, I can relate to this one. Back pain, 42% with back pain are depressed. 42% of the people with back pain actually have some form of depression.
Why would back pain have to do with
especially
depression?
Low back pain, because low back pain is often where you store your stress. And you can, if you have issues, they're in your tissues, right? So a lot of people store their stress in their stomach, solar plexus area, but also in their lower back. And actually the two are correlated because your muscles wrap around from your stomach to your back. So people who are depressed are really at risk for back pain and vice versa. If you have chronic back pain, you're more likely to become depressed. So definitely do something about that because it's really important. Here's a new one.
Okay.
Risky sexual behavior is a sign of depression.
Okay.
That's what they say. It's more commonly depression is actually more commonly associated with low sex drive or low libido. But in some people, it's very much correlated with very risky sexual behaviors. And, there's a lot of them. Obsession, sexual obsession, infidelity, internet use that leads to that. So again, if you know someone or you are engaging in risky sexual behavior, obviously that's not healthy for you. And it's probably not healthy for the other person. So I would suggest that you really look at the situation and identify, is this coming from an area of not feeling very good about my life and not feeling very good about myself? And am I suffering from some form of just feeling down, blue, or depressed? Exaggerated emotions. I think a lot of us can relate to that. Flying off the handle for no reason, crying all the time, or not expressing any emotions at all. Like something really bad happens to you and you don't even react. Like there's like no reaction. So any extreme on either end can be very much related to depression. And again, depression's not like the final answer. It's not the last thing, you're doomed, you'll have this for life. It's treatable. Depression's treatable.
Well, that's my question. I mean, the first thing a lot of doctors say is, well, here's a pill and that's going to make you feel better. Is that the answer, you think?
Well, we don't like to treat it that way in our office. I mean, sometimes people do need medication. I mean, they do. And some of the worst cases, their lives have been saved by using medication. But so many people don't need medication. They need to clean up their diet, stop eating the foods that are making them depressed, stop over drinking that's making them depressed, restore their brain chemical balance. Amino acids allow you to restore your brain chemical balance. My sweet niece is dating this guy. I know he wouldn't mind me telling the story. He became a vegan and he's super healthy, has a great body and super healthy, takes wonderful care of himself. And initially he felt really good on a vegan diet. But the problem is the vegan diet is a lot of work. Right? You got to be super careful how you mix your proteins to get complete proteins, because proteins are what amino acids are proteins. So amino acids make up protein. So our proteins come from amino acids. Okay. Amino acids make our brain chemicals that keep us from being depressed and anxious and having addictions. So he ended up not really getting a lot of amino acids after a while, because you're just so hard to keep up with, like chopping and cutting and combining and doing all that stuff. And so what happened is he stopped getting proteins in his diet and he started eating all starch. And then pretty soon he couldn't remember things and he got really depressed and he lost his zest for life. And he just started feeling down and flat. And that's not like him at all. So he came into one of our clinics up in Eugene and Oregon, and he was tested, but right away, the practitioner that saw him said, you know what, I don't think this is the right diet for you because you're not getting any amino acids in your diet. And that's why I think you're kind of feeling like you're losing your mind and your vitality for life. So she switched him to a low glycemic eating plan, adding some vegetarian proteins, but some animal proteins back in his diet. And he told me within weeks, his symptoms were 100% gone.
That's awesome.
She restored his vitamin levels and got him on a different diet. So proteins are really important for balancing your brain. And sometimes, Rusty, it's just that easy to correct depression, like that easy. Or taking a supplement and changing a few things to give yourself and your brain a little break during the day or evening. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's just an example of it's not doomsday if you get that diagnosis or you feel like you could relate to any of these things. The last couple are things.
I'll bet you got another one.
What's that?
I'll bet you got another depression thing.
Yes.
I'll bet you.
You'll bet me because it's gambling. Excessive gambling. If you gamble more than just recreationally speaking, you find yourself gambling online. You're going to those, what are those little things called around, those little gambling things?
Off-track betting, those
Yeah,
ones?
well, I don't know. Those little things you can go in those little slot machines and stuff.
Yeah, it's an Oregon.
Yeah, no, it's an Oregon thing. Anyway, if you find yourself kind of like always needing to get to a gambling site or sports betting, or you're just really over the top, it may be that you're actually well, number one, you might not be busy enough. Let's face it. You might need more to do, more productive things to do.
Go mow the lawn.
And the problem is you always think, well, I'm winning so much money.
Right.
I'm winning so much money. They say Gamblers Anonymous says whenever somebody says that, they're too far down the road. Yeah. So it's time to turn it around. Smoking, if you're having trouble quitting smoking, it is probably because you're also dealing with depression. So maybe treating the depression before you try to quit smoking is a good idea. Being depressed doubles your risk for smoking. I didn't know that one either. Yeah. But a lot more people are smoking today.
And that vaping thing is really caught on.
Yes.
Big.
Yes. And I'm sure we'll see the backlash of that and all of the fillers that are harming your brain and your body down the road on that one. Not taking care of yourself is my favorite one of this whole list. Yay. Not taking care of yourself is, in my opinion, number one sign that you're depressed. It could be even something like you're just not making your bed anymore. Do you know that's a sign of depression? You used to make your bed and now you're not making your bed. No exercise, no vitamins, just basic self-care. If you're finding that you just don't care, you're not even taking your supplements. Maybe you're not going in for your routine examinations. You're not restoring the levels that somebody told you should. You're just doing a lot of destructive behavior and nothing good for you. Mm-hmm. Those are signs of depression, or could be signs of depression. So the mood supplement is a great place to start. You just take 2 at bedtime. You can get it on my website, nishajackson.com. Again, exercise is one of the number one and top 3 ways to get rid of depression. Even just getting outside and experiencing nature is a wonderful absorber. Spending more time with your pet, getting 8 hours of sleep. If you're stressed, you need more than 8 hours of sleep. You don't need 15 or 12, but you need to make sure you're resting and sleeping and getting all of those hormones made while you're sleeping.
Is the mood supplement the only one you suggest for depression, or is there anything else?
Well, there's other supplements that help with depression. That's the one I always start with first. Fixing the hormones is really important for men and women, because sometimes it's just that men have low testosterone and that's why they're depressed. It could be that for women, they're also low on a hormone called progesterone, which is our mood hormone. So, I mean, there's other things that can cause depression, but I really like to start on fixing the hormones and starting on the mood supplement before I just start handing out prescriptions, because a prescription doesn't fix the problem. It just fixes the symptom of depression. And I actually kind of like to get to the bottom of the problem so people can have control over it themselves. They can teach their body to get on the other side of it.
I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely. So go to nishajackson.com to get your mood supplement. Another thing that might help you with your depression is probably maybe a lack of energy. Yes. Energy might, yes. Brand X might help too.
Yes.
Take brandx.com and that'll help you get it promotes brain focus and attention and physical recovery and stamina. So that's all the things.
And your immunity.
And your immunity too.
Boost your immunity.
All right. That's it for this show.
That's it.
Good show. I learned a lot. I hope you did too. Subscribe. Make sure that you get notified every time the show gets released, about every Tuesday. And we appreciate you. For Nisha Jackson, I'm Rusty Humphries, and this is The Nisha Jackson Show.